What was that process like for you? Was that something you knew you definitely wanted to jump into? Or?
I was very appreciative of the opportunity. Obviously, when the position opened up and Coach Ferentz and I had the conversation, very appreciative of being here. It's a great group of coaches, staff, guys that are really together, and that's reflective of Coach Ferentz and the way that he operates. And then to be able to work with the guys within this program, the group of guys that we have, I don't care what position it is, offense, defense, special teams, it's a great place to be. And so the opportunity when it came about, like I said, I was very appreciative to have that opportunity, excited about it, to make an impact, and the ability to be able to work with this group of guys on staff and these players has been a lot of fun.
How much, when you were at Colorado State, how much did you work with? I know you were OC, but how much did you work specifically with the wide receivers?
Worked a lot with them. Yeah, we worked very closely together. It's so tied together between quarterback and wide receiver. Whether I was playing the position, coaching quarterbacks during my time at Wisconsin, coordinating out at Colorado State, you're trying to be on the same page constantly. So you're constantly talking through things that I'm emphasizing in the meeting room right now: how to attack leverages, where you fit within a progression, it's so critical that you impact the play in the run game to set up the play pass. Those little things are conversations that I've been having for a long time, whether it's playing or coaching. So there's a lot of carryover.
What do you feel like the specific characteristics, assets you bring to that position?
Ultimately, the reason I got into coaching was because I want to make a positive impact on the guys that I get to coach, and I want them to understand the beauty of this game is you're part of a team, and what are you doing? What's your role? What's your job being asked to make a positive impact? Not only when you're on a certain play and you're one of 11, but when you're one of 120, and setting a standard, having accountability within the group. But you guys can't do that until you build trust, and those relationships are critical. And so I've enjoyed it my whole coaching career, being able to help guys grow on and off the field. And I think the ability to build the trust within a room so that you can stress accountability and set a standard and hold guys to it, that's been enjoyable for me, and we're continuing to do that each and every day.
The production at wide receiver, it hasn't been where it's needed to be the last few seasons. How do you get it to where it should be?
Yeah, I think it's consistency. You have to understand what your job is, what we're asking you to do, and then you have to do it on a consistent basis, because you don't know at what point that ball is going to find you. But if you're doing your job consistently over and over, and you're in the right place at the right time and doing the details within the position, then the ball will eventually find you. But if you're not, if it's one play you do it right, and then it's not the look necessarily for the ball to go to you, then the next one you do it wrong and it is the look, well, then you're not going to get that opportunity. So opportunities will come. When they do come, then we got to capitalize on them, and that's what's being stressed within the room right now.
You mentioned at Wisconsin kind of having a hand in wide receivers, also Colorado State. Are there other stops you feel like you've been able to gain knowledge about wide receiver and the position and stuff that's helped you?
Yeah, those have been the two stops that I've had in my coaching career. I GA'd out at Pittsburgh, but those have been the two main stops. So when I took this position, what I tried to do was think of guys that I have a ton of respect for within the profession that have coached the position, think of guys that I played with that have played the position, pick their brain on as much as I could, there's so much knowledge out there, and as a coach, you're constantly trying to gain as much knowledge as you can, because then you can become a better coach and you can teach the guys at a better level. And so there were certain things that I tried to reach out and collect some information on, and then build that with the experiences that I've had, and try and put it together.
Is there any guys in particular you can share who you talked with?
Just previous guys that I've worked with, previous guys, like I said, that I've played with. It's a decent amount of guys that I have a good amount of respect for. That conversations that we'll catch up here and there, and then something might lead to, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? What did you do in this situation? And so it was a decent amount of guys.
Is there anything like technically you feel like that maybe you in the past last season wasn't going right, that you just little fixes that can help you guys moving forward? Or
I think what I did was look at the position, what we're asking the position to do, and then make sure that everything that we're doing within a practice structure, within a meeting structure, is emphasizing that, so that whatever is being asked of them from day one when Tim came in and we put the system in place, what's their job, how do they do it, and then once I teach them how to do it, then they put it on tape and now emphasize the consistency to come with it. And so it wasn't anything specific that I looked back on. I more took, this is my role, this is what we're doing, and what are all the details within what we're asking them to do. And then whether it's practice or meetings, everything we do, it's going to be done for a reason so that they can continue to get better at that.
How do you feel like Terrell, him transitioning kind of from running back, is he working more in slot still? How do you feel like he fits in?
He's great. I mean, he comes to practice and meetings every single day with incredible. He just has an incredible approach, and he's a guy that you want to be around every day because his attitude is just awesome. He's continued to work the skills within this receiver position. You've seen him progress each and every day. He gets a little bit better. He does something that is like, man, that's what we emphasized in the meeting, and he got it and did it. And so he's going to continue to get better, continue to grow. But I love the way that he's approached camp, and really like him in the room.
John, you've got some serious youth in your group. I guess, does that make it maybe more difficult transitioning into this role where you don't have one of those senior guys who can be kind of a quasi-assistant coach for you?
Yeah, I think, it does and it doesn't. Within the position, we do have a little bit of veteran presence, and I think we also have a nice mix of young guys, and so it was all new. It was new for everybody. So even a guy that's been playing for a couple years, it's new. It's new verbiage. It's new alignments, new techniques that we're asking them to do. And so I just like the way that the group has accepted the coaching, and they've gone and they've tried to get better each and every day. And the young guys are starting to figure out, how do I line up? What do I do on this motion? And the older guys, they kind of took, they got that down in the spring, and so now we can focus more on the details of execution and the fundamentals within it. So it's a good mix right now, but I think the few veteran guys that we have are setting a good tempo for the group, and the young guys have something to look at to see how it's supposed to be done.
Other than maybe like Caleb Brown and Seth Anderson, it's just kind of like we don't really know. We don't really know what we got. Right. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah,
okay.
That's what's so great about the room right now is the competition is really healthy. There's not a lot of production within the room, and so that's what we're trying to find out right now. Who can do it on a consistent basis? Who are those guys that we can trust to put out there that are going to do it the right way and do their job consistently? And when you get that, when you get good competition, it brings out the best in everybody, and that's what guys are doing right now. They're competing. There's tremendous opportunity for everybody in the room, and I think they all see that. They're embracing it, but they're also staying within themselves, not looking too far on the edges, and just saying, okay, what can I do better each day? How can I progress? How can I take that coaching point that might not have been me necessarily, but apply it when I get my next rep? So the approach has been really good.
Who are some of those guys that maybe are starting to earn some of your trust?
I think the group, there's a good group that we have right now with Jacob Gill, Caden Weege, and Jared Bowie. Those guys, Jacob has flashed quite a bit throughout camp so far. He's a guy that joined the program in the summer, worked really hard to understand the system so that we could put him out there, and because he's got a great skill set, the way he plays is just at a different speed, and that's been fun to see throughout camp. Weege is a guy who I've said in the past has got legit speed. He's an absolute threat from that standpoint, and I like the approach that he's had so far in camp because he's doing the little things that we're asking him to do, and you need to continue to push the consistency along with the whole group. But those guys have stood out. Like I said, with Bowie's continuing to work. He's continuing to understand how we're teaching the position and what we're asking him to do, and I think each day there's something that shows up from the previous meeting that he gets a little bit better at, and so that's been encouraging. And then we got some young guys, like Reese Vandersea, big body guy who's he's starting to get some more reps, and have liked the way that he's continued to progress, and he's going to keep getting better as it slows down for him. And KJ Parker's another guy, a young guy who's really gotten quite a bit of reps, whether it be 7-on-7 or some Devo work in threes. But I like the approach that he's had, and he's learning from the older guys, which has been good for him.
For those two young guys,
Yeah.
any possibility that we see them on the field this year, you think?
I think so. You know,
Okay.
I think, like I said, right now the competition is really healthy, and so we're trying to get guys, keep mixing and matching, and giving guys opportunities to show the consistency, the execution, and I think as they continue to progress, those will probably be answered more in the next couple weeks. But right now, I like what they've done so far.
What kind of receiver is Jarriett? I mean, he's a guy that we've heard a little bit about, but we've seen him on the field a little bit too,
Right.
but no catches, nothing. Is he a true X? Like, what do you see from him?
I think he's working at the X position right now, which I think is a spot for him. I think he's got the ability to win one-on-one matchups. I think his technique, like I said, he gets better each day as he learns how to attack a leverage where he fits within a progression. What I can do at the top of the route to create some separation. He's continuing to grow because he's still young, but he's continuing to get better each day. And the last couple days, the ball's found him a little bit more, and that's the consistency that he's striving to get to along with the whole group. But like what he's done so far.
I wanted to ask, and I'm not going to ask about names or anything like that, but your recruiting, what has it made like the history recently? We don't have to talk too much about that, right? But like the recent production from the wide receivers, has that made it difficult? Because I know you went out on the recruiting trail and offered a good amount of kids in the spring and like early summer. I cover recruiting for Rivals.
Okay. Gotcha.
So what's the approach? Because I've heard that you've been a breath of fresh air in terms of recruitment. So what's your approach there?
The first thing in recruiting is understanding where you are, and we're at Iowa, and this place is such a unique, special place because of the people, and so it all starts with the type of person, and you have to do your homework to understand that whoever you go down the journey of recruiting, that they're the right fit, because that's what makes this place special. Is the players have a really tight bond. Coach Ferentz, the culture that he and the group of staff that's worked very hard to establish. That's the whole starting point. And then once you go from there, then you got to evaluate talent, and are they good enough, or can they be capable of doing the things that we're going to ask them to do. And so as you go out there, once you can answer those two questions, the right guy and the right fit for Iowa, and then they're good enough, the talent is there, then you start building relationships. And I think that's what I enjoy the most about it, is you want to, those relationships are so critical during that process, because once you get here, there's a level of trust that you're going to continue to build, and that all starts during that process. And so you hope that those two roads meet, and it's what they're looking for, and we've evaluated it, and it's what we're looking for. But as long as those two things are in place, then let's go get them, and let's give our best effort to get the right guys in here that are going to make a positive impact not only on the field but also